And I think, you know, I never said this before in an interview, but I never truly considered myself as an artist until I'd done those songs with Iron Maiden.
Viikonloppusoturit. Iron Maiden podcast. Tervetuloa kuuntelemaan Viikonloppusoturit podcastia tänne Oopperan kummituksen luolaan. Kyseessä on ensimmäinen suomenkielinen Iron Maiden -yhtyeeseen keskittynyt puheohjelma, jonka jaksoissa käymme läpi kaikkea mahdollista bändiin liittyvää niin fakta kuin varsinkin fiilispohjalta. Minun nimeni on Tero Ikäheimonen.
Ja täällä on myös Seikeri Henri. Ja mitä taas me tehdään tälleen etänä?
No niin, kato, kerran päästiin tämän makuun, niin tää on hemmetin kätevää tälle.
Joo, jätkät laiskistui heti kun huomasi, että oli joku porsaanreikä. Niin...
Joo, ei tarvi poistua kotota.
Ei tarvi.
Joo, katsotaan, ehkä tästä ei ihan joka jakso tuu tapaa, mutta aika kätevähän tämä etäilykin, eikä sitä ainakaan mun mielestä viime jaksosta paljon huomannut, että ei oltu fyysisesti samassa tilassa. Että...
Joo, ei kyllä. Eikä ole tullut mitään siis soraääniä myöskään, tai ei palautetta sen suhteen muutenkaan, että kai se vissiin ihan läpi meni.
Kyllä. Viikonloppusoturit podcastin tämä 3. tuotantokausi alkaa nyt sitten olla toden teolla niin kuin loppusuoralla. Tänään meillä hetken kuluttua internet-yhteyden välityksellä niin vieraana on itse Blaze Bayley, eli Iron Maidenin kahdella täyspitkällä albumilla laulanut herra ja myöhemmin sitten pitkän soolouran tehnyt äärimmäisen sympaattinen, miellyttävä, inspiroiva suorastaan herrasmies kohta tuolla langan päässä. Tämä haastatteluhan tehtiin jo tuossa muutama kuukausi sitten, mutta sitä on vähän jemmaatu tässä sitä varten, että Blazehan on tulossa nyt sitten, kun tämä julkaistaan perjantaina 1. päivä heinäkuuta, niin 8. päivä perjantaina niin On the Rocksissa on Blaze Bayleyn keikkaa.
Aika moista, kun mietitään tätä vaikka meidän podcastin retrospektiiviä, niin nyt me ollaan tämän lyhyen olemassaolon aikana koettu Maidenin keikka ja uusi levy, ja nyt me haastatellaan sitten Iron Maidenin laulajaa. Joskin entistä, mutta nevertheless.
Kyllä, ja unohtui vielä sanoa, että toki myös 9. päivä 7. niin tuolla Mikkeli Metal Meetingissä on Blaze esiintymässä, eli jos siellä päin Suomeen vaikutat, niin sinne kannattaa sitten suunnata. Oli kyllä, tätä on niinku tehnyt pahaa jemmata tätä haastista näin pitkään, kun se oli mun mielestä ihan mieletön juttu, että saatiin Blaze vieraaksi, ja meillähän oli aikaa varattuna vain 45 minuuttia hänen kanssaan, ja kysyttiin noita yleisökysymyksiä tai kuulijoiden kysymyksiä, ja muutama ehdittiin kysyä, mutta eipä tuossa 3 vartissa ihan mahdottoman montaa kysymystä ylipäätään ei esittää, kun herra on aika, niin kuin kohta kuulette, niin varsin niin kuin, tavaraa tulee kyllä, kun hän pääsee vauhtiin sieltä suusta. Sieltä tulee kaikenlaista pientä laulunäytettä ja muuta herkkua kohta, mutta oli tosi mieletön haastattelu, että kyllä toi Blaze jotenkin, hänellähän on ollut kaikenlaista, tosi vakava moottoripyöräonnettomuus, just kun hänet oli valittu Maidenin laulajaksi, mikä olisi voinut päättyä se homma niin kuin suoraan siihen, ja sitten hänen vaimo menehtyi tuossa 2008, eli monenlaista niin kuin vaikeutta ollut elämässä, mutta herra on vaan puskenut eteenpäin läpi harmaan kiveen, ja monelle tommonen juttu, että pääsee Maidenin keulakuvaksi, mutta sitten joutuu muutaman vuoden päästä väistymään, kun vanha laulaja tulee takaisin, eli Bruce bändiin, niin olisi voinut niin kuin kaataa tai ajaa jonnekin katuojaan ryyppäämään ja jonnekin baarien kulmiin selittämään loistonpäivistä, mutta herra otti härkää sarvista ja on puskenut sitten vaan jääräpäisesti omaa soolouraa eteenpäin.
Joo.
Eikä ole jäänyt märehtimään, vaan mitä tossakin sitten, kun kohta kuullaan hänen itsensä kertomana, niin jotenkin se asenne on jotenkin ihailtava ja virkistävä, että miten hän niin kuin pitää sitä suurena arvossa sitä, että sai olla Maidenissä ja oppi sieltä hirveästi, varsinkin Steve Harrikselta niin kuin biisien teosta ja tämmöistä, että on pystynyt niitä sitten hyödyntämään myöhemmin, eikä vaan jäänyt silleen mählimään siihen, että voi minua, kun nyt kävi näin, että en ole enää Iron Maidenissä.
Joo, toi oli mieletöntä kuultavaa kyllä toi biisintekopuoli, ja sitä hyvähän me saatiin kuulla aika pitkältikin, että millaista se biisinteko oli ja mitä hän on siitä oppinut. Todella mielenkiintoista.
Kyllä. Ja ensi viikolla sitten tuotantokauden finaali. Just tässä ennen kuin ruvettiin tätä äänittämään, niin hieman katseltiin kalenteria, että se päivä lähestyy ja homma on vielä vähän, tuotantopuoli ei ole niin kuin ihan vielä maalissa, että jos ensi viikon finaalijakso tulee tavallista myöhemmin, niin koittakaa kestää, että tässä on vielä hieman hartiavoimin tehdään täällä päivittäin hommia sen eteen kyllä, mutta se voi myös olla, että se valmistuu ihan normi perjantai-aikatauluun, mutta jos ei, niin tiedätte, että hyvää kannattaa odottaa.
Todellakin hyvää kannattaa odottaa, ja tosiaan tämä tuotanto, vaikka me nyt paljasteta mikä se suoraan on, mutta voi sanoa, että on aika paljon kunnianhimoisempi kuin yksikään kauden finaali aikaisemmin. Niin
joo, kyllä voi sanoa, joo.
Kaikilla mittareilla ja joka suuntaan, ja se on ehkä opettanut meitä molempia aika paljon, että miten jatkossa sitten.
Jatkossa ei tehdä näin kunnianhimoisia projekteja, tarkoitatko sitä?
No ehkä suurin piirtein, koska esituotantovaihehan alkoi tähän projektiin varmaan helmikuussa tyyliin. Kyllä. No puhutaan siitä sitten kauden finaalissa. Mehän jos sen verran voidaan paljastaa, niin finaali tulee muodostumaan sekä normaalista podcast-jaksosta, jossa hieman ehkä tälle podcast-tyyliin vapaamuotoisemmin avataan tätä finaalipläjäystä ja sitten videosta. Mutta kyllä vain.
Viimeksi kun mä katsoin, niin se videon pituus oli semmoinen 25 minuuttia. Että katsotaan, siinä on kyllä kesäksi katsottavaa.
Joo.
Mutta koitetaan julkaistaan ne sitten samaan aikaan, niin voitte valita sitten nautitteko ensin video vai ääniformaatissa saman. Tai siis ne ei ole sama asia, vaan nämä on vielä kaksi eri produktioa, niin senkin takia tässä on tällaista pientä säätöä. Mutta joo, eiköhän se nyt siitä riitä ja käännetäänkö modemin kampea ja otetaan Blaze Bayley mukaan keskusteluun.
Kyllä, tehdään kuule näin.
Tehdään näin. Ensi viikkoon.
Blazeit.
Good evening, Mr. Bayley. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. My name is Tero Ikäheimonen.
Tero?
Yes, Tero.
And who else? Who's this weird-looking guy?
I'm Henry. Nice to meet you.
Henry?
Yeah.
Tero?
Yes.
All right.
Maybe we don't waste any more time on pleasantries.
Okay.
Let's get down to business if it's okay to you.
Let's get down to the dirty business of metal.
Looking back on your life and your career so far as a performer, what have been the major moments in your life that affected your artistic identity and the way you see yourself as a performer on stage?
That's such a good question, mate. So good. Well, I think there are these moments in my life, and as a fan of Ronnie James Dio and other singers and bands, you look and go, oh, that must have been a life-changing moment or a serious thing. But really, to the artist, it's things that you don't see, I think. And stories that never come out. And a great question like that is really cool for actually having the chance to say these stories. I'm not a naturally talented singer. I always say that I learned to sing. I love to sing. I learned to sing. And every time I hit something where I'm like, oh, I'm not quite sure how to do this or whatever, then I found a tutor and had a couple of lessons. But I didn't stay with that tutor and having those lessons. once I got what I needed, then I would move on, and in writing my songs and my performances, I'd incorporate what I learned. So from that first singing tutor, which was a friend of a friend that somebody knows, then right up to working with the top guy who you have one lesson and you record your lesson and that's a reference, and then you come back months later after you've implemented all those things if you need to. And these are things that have affected me. When I was in Maiden, then I had to really stretch, I had to toughen up. It's a big expectation on the voice. And as well as that, working with Steve Harris, he found this other part of my voice. And so there I was in Wolfsbane with this, using this effectively, this much voice, yeah, fine. And then I start work with Steve Harris and with the writing process and some of the things that Steve wrote with my voice in mind. There's another third of the voice I didn't even know I had. I didn't know I could use that third or what it would do. So I think this is the turning point for me. Around that time in the 90s when I joined Maiden and we started working together, and I'm going, oh, after the war, and now that they've sent us homeward. So that part of my voice wasn't strong, and that started to come then. So that is a key moment. And for me, and I think for many singers, then the voice, it's right there connected to the heart. Just like the hand on the guitar is connected to the strings, and there's a magical, invisible force of magnetism. They don't touch. The strings don't touch anything to make the sound. A magnet does it all. It's incredible. Then so this thing here, when you get it right and you get the lyric and the melody right, then it goes here and it pulls your heart. And I connect invisibly directly with your heart. And that's what I feel for me as an artist. Forget what critics say or fans say or how they felt about it. But for me as an artist, that time in Iron Maiden set me on a road where my focus was changed from being powerful or soft to reaching out and trying to convince people, bring them into the meaning of the song through the voice without them having to have English as a first language. That was it. So for me as an artist, I think these little things that I spent with tutors along the way, just a couple of weeks, maybe 4 lessons I would have, and then go off and do my own thing and something else. And then someone of the caliber of Steve Harris, who's got just legendary songs that are part of pop culture, to write with my voice in mind and bring out this side of me as an artist. And I think, I never said this before in an interview, but I never truly considered myself as an artist until I'd done those songs with Iron Maiden. At the end of that, and coming into doing my own albums, I had a different feeling about music, my voice, a different way to look at it. And I think that's when I started to consider myself as an artist. Didn't matter if I wasn't popular, but that's what I consider myself, an artist, someone in pursuit of definite dreams and definite things that I could identify. I want to do something like this. I want to make people feel this, whether it's happy, sad, or powerful or empowered. That was it. So I think that was it, a real start for me. That just, it was a long time, that writing process leading up to the X Factor album. But I think that was where the changes began.
Yeah.
Wow, what an inspiring answer.
Yeah. So did you learn anything from like Steve's method of writing songs?
Absolutely. Because before, with Wolfsbane, man, we had some great songs. We had some catchy songs. We had some really good stuff. I always felt a little bit resentful that we were never able to do a full European tour on our own, and the record company at the time, all we wanted to do, man, was live on a tour bus, come up to Finland, go everywhere. But they paid a lot of money for a video. It wasn't a hit. We didn't want to have a big, video with 100 grand spent on it. We wanted to be on a tour bus like Sabaton. Bought their own tour bus. Bang. All right, we're staying with. That's exactly what we wanted to be, just like the way Sabaton have done things now. But we never had that opportunity. But one of the things that I think we suffered from then that we don't now, because we still write together and we got a new Wolfsbane album coming in June, is things are a bit hit and miss. So we get a great idea, we could follow it, make it into the right thing. Yeah, great. And sometimes there'd be elements, oh, that's a good bit, that's not so good. And the thing would just die. And it's like, oh, well, we can't finish it. We'll move on to something else. Whereas what happened with Steve Harris, his style of writing, though it's great to collaborate with him, but also writing on his own, he can get that idea, he can form it in his mind, and then he can bring it to rehearsals, and he can make the idea in rehearsal and on the record sound and feel like what he had in his mind. So that was a thing that I learned most. It's been the biggest lesson in my life of music is, right, you take this, and now to get it to here, these are the steps and the blanks you need to fill in to get it to there. Then you've got something really, really cool. And it doesn't matter if nobody else likes it. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. You're not trying to be popular. You're trying to do something great, something that makes sense to you, an emotional journey. That's what you're trying to do. And then it doesn't matter if nobody likes it. You took it from there, put it there. It makes sense. That's the job done. Then, if you're lucky, because it's done with passion and honesty, people will go, that's passionate, that's honest. I identify with that, and it's something that fans will enjoy. That can't happen on every song, but that's what I strive for, to do. Those times when Steve came in, I remember, man, when Steve came into rehearsals with the Klansman, and it's just, it's just a bit of paper. It's got a bit of paper with a few notes, and he goes, and in pencil goes, what do you think of this place? And he said, and whistling the melody. And I go, fucking hell, Steve, that's amazing. I said, yeah, man, absolute. That is and all it was is Steve on an acoustic bass that he was using at the time for a bit of writing on that album, and whistling and a little and like this. I go, fucking hell. And he took that idea then into, we can alone on the hills with the wind in your face. Feels good to be free and be proud and a race that is part of a clan. To live on high lands with the air that you breathe, so pure and so clean. Not alone with a dream. And that goes, freedom! And that, man, it just comes from this little thing. Wow. And that is something, as a fan, years ago, watching them at Birmingham Odeon on stage, doing Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, all of that. And you're there with the guy. Sometimes you've got to go, fucking hell, Steve. And then you get through that and you can do, just fantastic. When we did Future Reel together, Steve said to me, what have you got for this? I've got this bit of a thing. Have you got anything? I said, actually, I have. I think I've got something to go with that. What is real, future real? I'm running out of my time, I'm running out of breath. And now it's getting so I can't sleep at night. In the day, feel like death. And there it is. We're like, oh yeah, okay, this bit, yeah, that bit. Oh, we'll go here now, we'll do that bit of melody. And that's it, man. So that haphazard look that I used in Wolfsbane to do songs like I Like It Hot and Paint the Town Red and Manhunt, which turned out great with a bit of luck. I didn't need so much luck when I came to do Silicon Messiah, 10th Dimension, and Blood and Belief. I was like, I know where I want to go with this. I've got an idea. That's not for now. That goes back in the vault. Pull that out. Next album, see what it's like, see where it goes. I had a lyric that I had for years and years written on a tiny piece of paper that I jotted down in the pub, and I just had it. And every time, big box, plastic box of lyrics, and no phones then, like we have now, and just get it out and go, what the bloody hell's that? And I'd put it away. And then on Blood and Belief, it's, if that phone call is for me, tell them that I don't exist. We were in the pub, and because of no mobile phones, what would happen is the wives and girlfriends normally would phone the pub looking for the husbands and boyfriends, me included. And I'd be like, and you get the phone, bring. Is Ted here? Ted, are you here? No, I'm not here. He's not here. So it'd be like that. And so, if it's for me, I don't exist. Bang! And it went, that phone call is for me. Please tell them that I don't exist. I don't think that I'll be missed. That's fine, because oh man, and it turned into a song, and I could do that because I'd had this wonderful experience of getting the idea from here out to here and into the rehearsal room. And it's Blood and Belief is reissued on vinyl this month, and man, it just takes me back to that moment of finding this little bit of paper that's from years ago, and I'm writing, surrounded, the floor's covered in pieces of, little tiny pieces of paper and notes, going through each one. Oh yeah, use that, cross it out so I know I've used it, and all of that. To that one thing, if that phone call is for me, please tell them that I don't exist. So I think that's it. That lesson, getting that from there to here, that's something I learned, and that's a lesson that stayed with me, and a level of confidence. Writing with the guys in Maiden, doing Two Worlds Collide, Man on the Edge is a top 10 single in the rock charts around the world.
Yeah, amazing song.
Then, and this, I know this sounds completely arrogant. I know it sounds arrogant, but it's true nevertheless, is that, that your music and your ideas are good enough to be in the charts, because they have been, and people have bought, so it's good enough. So it's not about how good your ideas are good enough. So if you get low, you go, well, people don't know about me, but that's not because I can't write a good song. It's just because they don't know.
Looking back on the different phases of your career, what has been the most challenging part of each era in your career so far?
It's very, very mundane, but if you want to be independent, largely you have to use your own money. And I spent all my money from Iron Maiden on trying to get a band together and making a record and trying to get out there, and I failed. So the biggest challenge in each era is, how do you finance it? I had a lot of help. My fans supported me through thick and thin, and I've been very, very lucky. But in each era, the first part, I had a record deal with SPV Steamhammer, for Silicon Messiah and 10th Dimension and Blood and Belief. Those albums absolutely failed. They didn't make me any money at all. and then I'm out of a record deal. Then I've got to find a way to make my next 2 records, and then I've got to get distribution and all of that. Now I'm a full independent artist. I do what I want. I own the record company. It's only me on it, but nevertheless, I own my own record company. I own most of my catalogue apart from one album. I own all my albums. They're on my website, in my shop. The biggest challenge, very mundane, is literally how do you finance the next part of your dream? How do you get through? And you know what? One time I phoned, I messaged every one of my fans that I got close to, and I said, can you give me £20? Can you give me £50? Can you lend me some money for this? I'll pay you back when the album comes out. Every one of them did it, and I was able to pay every one of them back. So I've been very, very lucky to have great support. But I think it's the same for any band. You're making a demo, you're doing anything, you've got to find the money to do it. That's why I think it's so important now that if you learn your guitar to a fantastic standard, you should also learn to record your band to that standard using equipment available at home. It's not so expensive. So you should learn that. If you play guitar, you want to be the fastest guitar player in the world, or you also got to learn to record. And a lot of guys that I've worked with who are phenomenal guitarists have done that, and the difference is amazing.
What are the biggest lessons you've learned so far as an artist?
I think that truth is important. To be true and have a connection to the song, to try and find with everything that I do creatively, musically, is that perfect storm of the lyric and the music and the melody that all fit together to create the same mood. And when the lyric and the melody and the music all goes to the same mood, that is pure gold, and it's in the heart, and it will connect. So as an artist, I've strived to be truthful, even when songs are about historical characters and other things. A lot of times I put a thin veil and the lyrics are about me and my own feelings. That I think truth is very important of my perception of myself as an artist. And I think when I talk to my fans, that's why they say I really connected with that album and that song, because there was truth in it, and truth is universal.
Wow. I think we have quite a lot of people listening to our podcast who also write their own music. So I think your former answers have been very useful for them to use as some guidance later in life, I think. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Henry. I think it's true for me. That's what's true for me, though, Henry. You know, That's true for me. And it doesn't matter if you like Ghost or Chemical Romance, whatever you're writing about, for me, then I try to find a connection. Even if it's a fantastic story, I'm trying to find a connection and put myself in that story, in that song, to have the feeling that I'm going to tell you this story. And for a moment, when you see me at the concert, you can forget that it's me and you can be with us in the story. And when you're in the headphones or in the car or in the bedroom late at night, wherever you've got your stereo, then you've got your good speakers that you can go, just forget that it's Blaze Bayley singing, and it's a whole thing that's coming into you.
We asked our listeners to send some questions to you if they had any, and we have few. First one is that the story goes that when you joined Maiden, Bruce Dickinson sent you 2 yellow bricks as a gift in a reference to the movie The Wizard of Oz. Is this true, and how did you feel about his support?
Well, Doro, it's true and it's not true. Yeah? So there I am, backstage in Brixton Academy, which is the biggest indoor stage in the UK at that time, I believe, and a big non-seated venue where a lot of the metal bands and rock bands of the time played. And I got back up to the dressing room, and there's a box for me, and I open the box, and this is where, and I don't know how this story has got so wrong. You can ask Bruce this if you get an opportunity to talk to him. Bruce sent me one brick,
Okay.
which was a large brick that was in his garden. He sent me that brick. He painted it yellow himself. And then with that brick in the box was a selection of fine ales.
Ah.
It was Bruce's idea, the Trooper beer and everything. All different fine ales that I think it was 5, maybe 6 bottles, different beers, and with a wonderful, beautiful note saying, I really hope this is a great step for you and a first step on your yellow brick road to success, which was absolutely beautiful and wonderful. So all this 2 brick nonsense was 2 bricks. And I spoke to Bruce about it afterwards, and I said, thank you so much for that. And he said, Blaze, you won't believe how long it took me to paint that brick yellow and make it yellow. So it was never going to be 2 bricks because it took so long to make 1 brick yellow.
I love this story better.
What happened to the brick? You still have it?
Or the ales.
Yeah, somewhere. I think the ales disappeared. It's the place I was drinking back then.
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore, but I was drinking back then, and those ales were very, very welcome at the end of that gig. And you know what? It was a time that the British rock metal press, the magazines, there's much more magazines back then, was saying Maiden were over, Bruce is gone, that's it, Maiden can't exist anymore. And that show was sold out. And we'd been playing to 10,000 people a night in Spain. And that was the second time we had to go round. We had to go back to Greece the second time. Maiden weren't getting any less popular. Those journalists and people who never bought their music, who, in my opinion, don't have a worthy opinion. If you bought the album, you can say something about it, right? And I'll listen. If you didn't, I'm just not interested in what you've got to say. You haven't invested in that album. You've got no opinion that's worthwhile to me. So those people were saying, oh, Maiden's over now. It's all grunge. That's the next big thing. All of that. That show was sold out. It was the loudest cheer, I think, of the whole tour. And you come home and people been slagging you off, putting you down, saying your music's not good. You are irrelevant. They said irrelevant. That's what they said about us. No, fans were there, sold out the gig. Absolutely. I came back to the dressing room. There's that wonderful gift from Bruce. He didn't just buy something. He made something with his own time, spent an hours making something for me. Did a very, very special day that said, you know what? Maybe I am the new guy, but it's still Iron Maiden, and everyone in the band is passionate and fighting to do the best performance that they possibly can. When you're in Maiden, and I think the rest of the guys will confirm this, if you put it to them this way, it's every gig is like the World Cup final, and you're playing for your country, and you've got to win. You've got to win. There's no way. That's the pressure of the gig, because the expectation of fans is so high, and justifiably so. Why wouldn't it be high? Because it is Iron Maiden, and it is a legend that lives and walks and breathes and creates merry hell everywhere it goes. Why wouldn't it? So that was a very special day Very special day for me when I got that brick. Never forget that day.
This is also from our listener, but he went to see the X Factor tour.
Listener?
Sorry?
I thought you had more than one listener.
One is enough if it's a loyal one.
If it's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that.
He went to see the X Factor and the Virtual 11 tours in Helsinki, and he remembers that
He wants his money back. I'm sorry, it's too late.
No, he remembers that you were a bit more reserved back in 1995, but very much more relaxed the next time you visited Finland, running around and talking a lot more to the audience, and overall seemed more relaxed. Is this something you recall in the same way?
I can tell you exactly what that is. That I started using in-ear monitors.
Yeah.
On Virtual 11. Big parts of the tour, I had in-ear monitors, which mean you can move around. So instead of being tied in one place, a lot of times on the tour before, I get my position, get my tune, right, what can I hear? Make sure I'm, the best I can to get my tone, to get my breath, to make sure I'm in tune and in time. It's so important for me to be precise with what I do. And I met Sebastian Bach on the roof of a hotel in Sao Paulo, Brazil. All right, Seb. Hey, Blaze, how you doing? And we just got talking, and he goes, you're not using in-ears? I said, no. He goes, oh, man, you're really missing out there because this, and this. I go, wow. Oh, I'm going to try that. So when I got back to England, I got in touch with some people, got some in-ear monitors made. Yeah, there I am. You miss the vibe of the crowd a bit. So that's difficult. But being able to be in time, in tune, have precise sound that you want, as loud as you need it, just so I could move around, and I knew my tone wouldn't wander off, because sometimes between what you get in the fold back and what you hear out the front, it can it can make me a little bit sharp or a little bit flat rather than when I'm just standing by the monitor. So I had in-ear monitors. I was able to get around a lot more. And the other thing is, when you know the songs and you're more familiar with the songs, mentally, you can place the note. So no matter what you can hear, when you have enough experience, and this is one of the reasons why Bruce Dickinson can do what he does, a lot of that tuning is in his head, and he'll visualize that note, and he'll get it because it's there in his head. He won't be going, right, what have I got to be in tune with? He'll know instinctively that's where the note is, and he'll get it. That comes with experience. So I had that on the Virtual 11.
At the same time, do you think that you grew a little bit as a frontman also during those years?
Yeah, confidence. No, absolutely. I'd grown in confidence, and I was very, very excited about doing the next Iron Maiden record. During that tour, I'd come up with ideas and got them on my dictaphone and been making my notes in a notebook, and this would be a good idea to work with Dave Murray. This would be a good idea to work with Steve. This will probably be good to work with Yannick. And I had these different ideas, and I was feeling confident, and I really thought that we'd get off that tour, go in, start writing, and the third Iron Maiden album with me, I thought it would really change things, and people would go, actually, this is really serious, and it's good, and this is another evolution of Iron Maiden, just like from Liano to Dickinson. But sadly, that didn't work because of all the different things that were going on in the world, so many problems with CD sales caused by, the streaming and everything that, well, it wasn't streaming as such then, but Napster and what happened there. That CD sales, that little bits of plastic that we all collect so religiously, people stopped collecting those. And
I didn't.
So many people stopped collecting them that the income generated from that little bit of plastic, poof, disappeared. Where's your money going to come from to keep going and do? well, you better get some interest in your band. You better rejuvenate. And the record company said, you know what? Black Sabbath had a reunion. Deep Purple had a reunion. Judas Priest had a reunion. They've all worked. We want Maiden to have a reunion. And where Steve dug in, he said, he didn't want it, but he said, you know what? If this is what we have to do to survive, I want Adrian back too. And that was it. So that's then it's typical of Maiden. They never do things absolutely straight. They'll never toe the line 100%. It's like, okay, we'll do something like you think, but we're doing it our way. So then you've got this wonderful dynamic of Yannick and Adrian and Dave. And then you've got the dynamic of Bruce and Adrian working together. It's just fantastic.
Did any of the material you had in your mind or had worked on for the third Iron Maiden album with you, did any of that material end up on Silicon Messiah?
Yeah, loads of it. Loads. Born as a Stranger. You were born as a stranger. You were born in a different world. That was supposed to be an Iron Maiden song. That was going to be a chorus with Maiden. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to get with the lads and start this. And Ghost in the Machine as well. It turned out a lot heavier, but Ghost in the Machine. Oh man, yeah, a lot of it. A lot of things I thought that would be part of that third Iron Maiden album. I got to my dictaphone, I got to those little scribbled notes, and I goes, have I got anything? And there were these little gems, little bits, little string I could build on and make my Silicon Messiah album.
Including Maiden tours, you've visited Finland around 15 times before this year's gigs. Do you have any special memories of Finnish fans?
Yeah, I love Finland. You know, I love to come there, and it's been a special place for me over the years. Great memories of being there with Maiden and with my solo career. The most special memory, perhaps it doesn't sound important or glamorous, but nevertheless, it's the most important special memory for me, is one of my fans, Mika from Mäntyharju, sent me a message and said, why don't you play in Finland? And I said, because nobody will book me to do a gig in Finland. And he said, what if I book a gig? I said, then I'm going to come. And then, you know what he did? He went to his local venues and he phoned up, and I was doing my acoustic, classical acoustic with Thomas Fyson, and he found, I think it was 3 or 4 shows for me. And he organised himself. It's just I say just a fan, he's a magnificent, wonderful human being and a hero. I had nothing going on, nobody interested, and he made that happen himself, and he took me to Mäntyharju and around Finland. Man, I was nobody in Finland was interested in me at all, and that was the start of my comeback in Finland, going to Mäntyharju. And I remember fans saying, why have we got to come all the way to Mäntyharju? And Mika said, why do I have to go all the way to Helsinki every time a band comes? So, man, it was so cool. So, and I've loved Finland. I mean, I liked it before, enjoyed it, but it's got a place in my heart, Finland, and it's a kind of have a home there. Another fan booked Thomas and me for he runs a company that actually has a hot tub on a boat that goes up the canal and the river. It's insane. He's this hang guy, and wonderful fan of mine that also brought me over. So that's the wonderful Finnish people. That they don't go, oh, that's never going to happen. They go, well, I want it. I think it's good. I'll make it happen. You guys are crazy. And that's why I love you. So it's, man, I just love it. I love to come and see my fans in Finland, and built up from Mika and the other guy putting me from those little two things, built up then to come in and playing a really great gig in Helsinki. And man, I never think that you could get there from where I was. I was ready to give up, really. And well, you just don't know what's around the corner, do you?
So what can we expect from the 2022 Blaze gigs in Helsinki and in Mikkeli?
I'm very excited about it, and I know it's a cliche, and everybody says it. My new album's my best album. Oh, this is the best thing I've ever done. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's what my fans have said. That people that fell in love with Silicon Messiah and 10th Dimension, and those have been important albums for them. The new album, War Within Me, they've got it and they've gone, oh. Perhaps this is my favourite album now. Perhaps this is the best Blaze album. I'm not saying that. I think I've had great success in the writing. Chris Appleton and me, it was horrible to have the lockdown and all the stuff, but with all those gigs getting postponed, it gave us so much more time, not just to work on the album, but have time away from the songs and come back. What do they sound like now? Wow, that is so good. Did we write that? And other bits, that is absolute shit. Yes, we must have wrote it. It's gone completely wrong. So, and then come back and go, that's never going to make this album. And then other things, wow, this has turned out incredible. So I really feel confident, and I'm so emotionally invested in the War Within Me songs because they come from a place where I came back from South America. Everybody's wearing a mask in the airport in Paris. Then the whole thing starts to happen. And I thought, when I've been at my lowest, my fans never doubted me. They never left me. They always said, I'm really looking forward to your next album. What are you going to be doing next? Very excited to hear the next thing that you do. And I thought, War Within Me has to be an uplifting, positive album. And we always have a chat about the kind of album we'd like to end up with. And Chris and I, we talked about it, and we said, you know what? I said, I want it to be positive. And then Chris said, you know what? Let's do everything on the acoustic. And let's work everything out acoustic. Forget putting any drums or anything like that. Let's do everything acoustic. And every song except the title song, War Within Me, which has its own story, was done on that acoustic guitar. Even the solos were put together on that. And then when we finished those arrangements and transferred them into a metal arrangement, wow. And we were very careful about every chord, every note that was sung and played. Did it go in the right place? Did it say the right thing? Was it honest? Did it have the emotion? We know the rules. We make our own rules. We know them. We can break them too. If that's what it takes, if it takes throwing the rule book away and singing this with this, we can do it. If that shows us the emotion. And that's what it is. It's the new set list has got some War Within Me songs, and I'm very lucky fans will have had a chance to hear them. This album has been streamed more than all my other albums put together on Spotify. War Within Me has been streamed more often by more people than anything I've done before. So I think that says something.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'm so excited to perform these songs and a couple of my old ones from a Maiden era, my version of Virus as well. I'm very excited about coming there and performing for fans who've been so loyal and so supportive for so many years.
What kind of dreams do you have as a singer?
Well, that is a great question, because he ends as with a singer, which is much more positive and direct than what kind of dreams do you have? Well, I'd like a pink motorbike, you know what I mean? So as a singer, I do have a dream, and I chase it and I chase it and I chase it with every song that I write. Sometimes I know it's not going to be that song. I dream of a song that will become part of metal culture. It's a big dream, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't say, oh, this is a song I want to be part of metal culture. No, people have to find it and discover it themselves and talk about it themselves. You can't make them do that. So it's a big dream, and it's an impossible dream. But difficult is for lunch, impossible is for dinner. We've done impossible, and we did it 3 times. We had to make 3 albums in 3 years and do 3 tours, and we did it. That was impossible. Impossible for someone who thinks it is. We just got on and did it, and it was tough, man, and it nearly killed us. But that is the Infinite Entanglement trilogy. It's a big story over 3 albums about one man and what he goes through and how he loses his identity and his self, how he has to find out what happens to him. It's a huge science fiction horror love story that stretches across the universe. Impossible, but we did it. And so I cling to this dream, and I think, I wonder, will War Within Me be that song? That for some reason ferments and bubbles up into the consciousness of metal fans worldwide, or it'll just go like that. What could it possibly be? And that's my dream. It's an impossible, it's irrational, but I dream it anyway. I dream of a song that everyone will know, and it doesn't matter that they don't know it's me. It just has to be a song that's a great song. Who is it? That's fine. That's a great Blaze Bayley song. I want it to be a great song that for some reason, and you don't know what it could be, will attach itself to the world of metal, and people will go, oh yeah, I love that song. Who is it? I don't know, but I love that song. That's good enough for me.
I think that's a great dream.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think our time is up, but I'd like to end this interview with it's not a question, it's a shout out from one of our listeners, the other one, Ville. I think we can all agree on this one. He sent me a message. Blaze Bayley has always stood with his head up high, even when times have been difficult, on and off the stage. The man is a true epitome of these colors don't run kind of attitude. I have nothing but great respect for the man. And I think me and Henry will agree with this statement 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
That's very kind of you guys.
A time is the most valuable thing you can give to another human, because you will never ever get it back. And I hope we didn't waste your time. And we look forward to see you in Helsinki.
No, thank you for putting so much thought into the questions. You can probably imagine the amount of times I get asked the exact same question that is already answered on Wikipedia. So thank you for putting that effort in, and it's been a great interview for me. I've really enjoyed it. Tero and Henry, thank you so much, man. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for having me on your show. Can't wait to get back to Finland. And a big thanks to all my fans in Finland and all metal fans there that have supported me through the years. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice evening, Blaze, and all the good to you.
And you, mate. We'll see you next time.
Viikonloppusoturit.